Hello, everyone, and welcome to We Know Scripted TV's coverage of the sex lives of college girls. That's right. I decided to bring the toxic faves back together to talk about another Mindy Kaling show. And I am your host, Sasha Joseph, of course, joined by the cool guy, the Leighton of the podcast community. Chappell is here. Welcome. We made
E-
it. We're doing it.
We did. We made it. And I just want to say, y'all, if you're listening to this, you have to know Sasha has been talking to me about this show for so long. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll watch it one day. I'll watch it one day. She's like, no, we need to talk about it. We've been hearing people say that, oh, yeah, it'd be so fun to see y'all talk about it because apparently it feels like another show that Sasha and I talk about it. And so I finally sat down to watch it. And I thought, I'm going to watch one episode. And then I think I watched both seasons in one day. And I don't know. I'm so happy that I waited this long to watch it because now season 3 is around the corner and I'm ready. So yes, Sasha, this is going to be so much fun. Thank you for inviting me to be the one to come on this journey and find out more about the sex life of a college girl. Because Sasha, you were a college girl once.
Yeah, but I was very opposite. I didn't do anything. I just
Mm-hmm.
studied, and I went to class, and I came back
Mm-hmm.
home, and then I went to class, and I came back home. So
Uh-huh.
it's fun to see something that I never ever did. Like, what's parties? I don't know.
Right. This is fiction, right? Like
Yeah,
this isn't your life.
can't
Anything
be
like no,
real.
yeah, you can't relate to any of this, right?
Impossible.
We'll see. I'm gonna be asking the hard hitting questions, so we'll see.
And I will ask them back. How about that? But listen, I just feel like the people have been wanting it because listen, maybe this is your first time being introduced to Chappelle and I. We covered Never Have I Ever on Netflix, and we have our own feed. It's called Never Have I Ever by Silent Podcast. And the last ever review on there 1 year ago, which again, it feels like 17 years ago,
It
but it's
does feel
fine.
like forever.
Yes. 1 year ago by Mojo Poe says, if you don't cover sex lives of college girls, I'm suing.
Well, here we are.
Take it back because you can't
Yeah.
sue us anymore. The people I
No.
feel like have been asking for us to cover this. So
Yes.
it was only, my time to corner you to say yes to me consensually.
Yeah. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Like Sasha said, we talked about
I
Never Have
gave
I
him
Ever.
nothing. I just said what?
Yeah. The only thing I picked up on was that it was gonna kind of be like very similar to like if it never have I ever if Davey went to college, then it
Yes.
could be very similar. There are definitely pieces of that for sure. And I went in thinking that too. So I was clutching my pearls because Davey, that's my child. I was like, we raised her and never have I
Correct.
ever. And this made me feel like how any crazy parent would feel sending their kid off to college. Because I was like, if Davey Bishwakumar ever did any of this stuff, I would have been
I would
livid.
fight her.
Yeah, she'd be grounded. You'll be grounded, Missy. And so, yeah. Now we got a new batch of women characters to talk about.
Mhm.
They're in college. The situations are more adult. It's more risque. And I got a lot of questions for Mindy Kaling as well. So, yeah, definitely have to be talking about this with Sasha specifically.
Ditto. The ditto.
Mhm.
Okay, so many feelings. But yes, in case you don't know what this show is about and you're just following Chappelle to whatever other cool thing he's doing, listen, this series follows the lives of 4 18-year-old freshmen, and season 1 and 2 is still their freshman year, where it follows 18-year-old freshmen that become roommates. They're
Mhm.
put together, and we'll talk about through that as well, but they're roommates of this fictional college called Essex in Vermont. And the whole point is like they're discovering their sexuality, they're discovering like where they are in life, and it talks through their struggles and hardships of being in college and adulthood. So that's what's really exciting about the show. And you would think, okay, that's cool, but when I tell you it is NSFW plus plus
Mhm.
plus plus,
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start because y'all, the show starts and it's black, right? And it's just someone literally being like, I'm so hard. I'm so this, I'm so that, like very sexually explicit things and then it opens to these two kids making out on the quad.
Right. Sasha, do we need to go ahead and get ahead of the parental advisory here? I
Yes.
think I think that it would be impossible for us to talk about this show in a way that is PG. So I think that
Mhm.
if you watch this show, we're going to keep the same energy as the show when it
Yeah.
comes to our conversation. How about that? And if you haven't
Yes.
watched the show, this is adult content. Sasha and
Correct.
I are going to be saying things like "I'm so hard" or whatever. Like that stuff. Me and Sasha have been code switching on these podcasts for so long. Okay, we know how
Mhm.
to turn it off and turn it on, but I think for this show, we gotta turn it on. This it might get a little vulgar here, and that's okay.
You turned on a podcast that said sex lives of college girls.
What were you expecting?
Yeah. We're gonna talk about college girls having sex. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay, but it's not a Girls Gone Wild show. It was
no.
for some,
Well,
for some
sometimes.
Bella, but for
Yeah,
others, we're still gonna talk about the plot. Don't worry. It's just a lot of the plot is like them being college and enjoying what college has to offer. The buffet that is
yeah.
college.
And you might learn a little bit about Sasha and I along the way because we both went to college as well, and so we have stories that may or may not overlap with some of these stories. So this should be fun.
Especially these parties.
Yeah, yeah. Now,
Because
have
there's
you ever been?
always a theme party
Have you ever been
going
to a
on in the
naked party? Because I never asked you
absolutely
this.
not. I can't. That is one thing, like, I will be a prude on, is, like, being naked, my body, that's, like, my immigrant trauma coming in, I don't know, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I to this never. No, impossible.
yeah, that'd be crazy, right?
So, did you go to a full-on party? Because I do know what you have done, but have you been to a party?
I've never been to a naked party. No.
Okay.
I didn't even know that was a thing until I
Yeah.
watched the pilot of this episode, and I thought, "What? A naked party? What does that mean? Why would you go naked in front of these people and like just be chilling in front of them?" You know, don't get me wrong. I understand. Look, I appreciated a good streak back in my day. Take off
Oh,
running.
fair. Okay.
But just to be just dry, just ass out
With
naked
the
and just like
lights on.
eating hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. Hey, bruh, this school here is wild. So another thing I want is if you're listening to this, leave us some comments. Let us know if you
Yes.
can relate to some of these stories. I want to hear all your college horror stories. Were you at a naked party? Tell me about it. What's the craziest party you've ever been to? We want to know because Sasha and I are going to open up, but we need y'all to open up with us.
Correct. You must. That's how this community
That's the whole
works.
point. That's the whole
Okay.
point. We're doing it. Mhm.
You must share your embarrassing things because we unfortunately will also. So it's gonna get weird. All right. I don't know. It's gonna get naked. It's gonna get
Mhm.
weird. And I'm excited. Okay, I'm excited because listen, who else to go on this journey with than Chappelle?
No, it
So
needs to be me. We gotta talk about it. We've talked about our high school trauma on our Never Have Ever podcast.
this is
Now
the real shit.
we can get into what the real stuff. Okay, so let's. I'm ready to talk about it, and
Oh my
I think we gotta.
god.
I think we gotta start with the cast, Sasha.
Yes. So let's get into it, okay? And we're gonna again full spoilers, obviously, for season 1 and 2. Season
Mhm.
3 hits Max. Oh my god, HBO on November 21st. So the fact that this is a Thursday show, it's a Thursday show, everyone.
Yeah. Yes, Thirsty Thursdays. But our podcast won't be out on Thursdays because the show doesn't
No.
air until Thursday. So I don't
Yes.
know. We gotta figure out a freaky. It's a Freaky Friday. We're gonna drop the podcast. Like what days? Matter of fact,
Ooh.
we won't put the podcast on a specific day, but every day that we drop it, it's gonna call it something. Freaky Friday
You guys,
drop.
yeah. The
Yeah,
one thing if you know Chappelle and I, we the toxic faves for a reason. That means the
it'll
podcast will never.
it's gonna be there. It
It's
just
gonna be there when it will be there.
when it will be there, and we will appreciate it as such.
Yes. We're the ultimate breadcrumbers, all right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
listen, Mindy knew what she was doing, dropping a podcast during freaking holiday season.
Right. Why would she start this show right now? But it's been Sasha, how long has it been since season 2? It's been a long time, right?
Yeah, it's been like it feels like years, but at least a year, if nothing. Okay, season 1 came out 2021, season 2 came out 2022,
And it's
but then
going
season
in,
3
yes.
2024.
So yeah, been 2 years. And yeah, that's not good enough.
Mhm.
We never have ever we were getting seasons every year. It was nice. Every year we knew we were gonna have something else to talk about. And then me and Sasha just talked about it until we couldn't talk about it anymore.
I
This time
know.
I think we're gonna try to drop the podcast in pairs or something
Yeah,
like that.
yes.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna
So
try, but like I said, I am traveling, end of December into January, so just bear with us, all right? We will figure this out, don't
it's the
worry.
holidays. Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it.
it's the holidays, but listen, we got the gifts for you. That's what I
Mhm.
do know. So the gifts might come late, just like an Amazon order. You'll
Mhm.
see. Okay. Or the pregnancy scare in college, but it will show up. Don't worry.
No comment.
Ah! Woo! All right. So now let's start. So the series, like I said, centers around four girls, Leighton, Kimberly, Bela, and Whitney. All right. So I think what's best is we're gonna go through each girl and their storyline for both seasons. And with them come a lot of like really great, honestly, sometimes better side characters as well. So we'll
Mhm.
they'll come up as they come up. And if we forget anything, put them in the comments. Tell us your
Yeah.
favorite character as well. And why is it Bela, obviously. Um,
Yes.
okay. But yes, we're gonna start with I think the consensus favorite and someone that's only going to be a recurring character, not a full on like cast member, Renee Rapp as Leighton.
Yeah. This is crazy, Sasha. I
Yes.
first of all, I just found out, y'all, right before we hit play that Renee
Mhm.
Rapp's not coming back full time. That's
Yeah.
crazy to me because Sasha and I have not talked about this show before amongst each other. So she's
Mhm.
getting my real-time reactions to some of these people. She's the best character. I'm sorry. Leighton is so dope. Everything about her is so cool. She's so forward-minded, outspoken. She doesn't F around. She's a girl's girl. She gonna fight for her friends as well. Um, I just felt like her character had the most going on. And
Yes.
and it just, man, I mean, even with her going and joining the sorority at the end of the seasons, like I was like, yes, like okay, let's do this. But for her to take a backseat in this season, I mean, I don't know what they gotta do. Throw some money at her because she's my favorite character easily.
Here's the thing, who's gonna come up? That's what I'm stressed because it can't be 3
Um,
girls. Like, I
no.
don't know, again, and we'll talk through this, but I feel like Leighton slash Renee Rapp, Leighton gets the most meat and potatoes. Maybe
Mhm.
Bella, right, is the next one, and Kimberly, but Kimberly just gets hot guys. That's her storyline.
She don't know how to
Uh,
not get hot guys. That's her thing. Like
Honestly, I'm jealous. Wow,
sh
what a
she don't know
girl.
she got the juice, okay? She got the whatever that it factor is. Kimberly don't even know it, but she a baddie in disguise.
She sprays herself with that pheromone. That's
She
the
doing the
only thing that
things.
makes sense. What the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, Leighton just feels like you said, the most well-rounded character because we learn about her sexuality. We learn about her family. We learn about her interests. We learn about her school actually as
Mhm.
well. So I feel like we hit all the buckets with Leighton's character, so it's a bummer. And for folks that don't know, Leighton is a freshman, obviously, but a wealthy legacy student from New York City who is a lesbian. She's queer. And she's like trying to live up to all these expectations that are put on her as being a legacy because her dad is very much all about Essex. That is his personality.
Yeah, pretty much. And so she has to go there and
Hmm.
she has to go to the school. She has to show up and be like a shining star at the school
Yes.
because otherwise her dad, she's gonna feel like she let him down, right?
Yep.
And so her brother already is attending the school as well. But we find out very quickly that Layden is kind of standoffish when it comes to her own personality. She keeps a lot close to the vest, she doesn't let anybody
Hmm.
in. And it's because she is hiding her sexuality. We'll see her. She's on the apps. She's hooking up with the suburban moms. Layden is like doing her thing, but she's like, I don't have to make this define me, right? Like, this doesn't have to be my personality. This is just a thing about me that's not as big as all the other cool stuff that
Hmm.
I'm dealing with right now. And so we see her navigate that. We see her trying to come out to her friends, to her family. We even see her navigate a few relationships. My favorite thing about Layden,
Situationships.
well, yeah, for sure. And then ultimately a relationship question
Yeah.
mark.
1 or 2, maybe. Do we count Alicia? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm. Then
I think
2.
you gotta count
Yes,
Alicia. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, again, such a great character because we meet, Leighton, and she is very much like New York City type A, right? She's like, "Oh, this isn't my room." All the other girls have already shown up. Their families are there already. But Leighton is confused because she was supposed to be living together with her best friends. But we constantly have heard now from her dad, from her brother, Nico, who we'll talk about in a second, right? All these people that they're assholes. Her friends suck. And
Mhm.
turns out her BFFs did not want to room with her. And even though they were like a full on match, they specifically said, do not room us with Leighton because she's constantly hiding stuff. Something's going on. We don't get like the full Leighton. So that's how Leighton has now been stuck with these randoms. And chaos ensues because she's now trying to figure out, well, I am such a cool girl and rich and, you know, et
And
cetera,
rich.
et cetera, et cetera. So she is finding a hard time blending her like uber amazing and coolness with these like not as cool girls in her
Mhm.
room.
Yeah, but she's filthy rich, and she's gonna remind us
Filth.
of that in every episode. She's so rich, and she's very New York. And as she's, like her friends are not cool, like her roommates. They're not the
Mhm.
coolest, and so she really doesn't want to be seen with them too much. But since she was just ditched by her high school best friends,
Yeah.
it kind of feels like it's the only place that she has to turn to. She's gonna make some big mistakes, end up having to do some community service, and meet a bigger network of people later on that are really going to help her come to terms with her sexuality and the things she has going on over there. But it's a tough start for Leighton as well. You would think it would be easier considering that she's rich and she's a
Right.
legacy, but they try to show that these people have layers too.
Mhm. And of course, like there's a lot of like funny, silly things with Leighton, but girls girl to the max because we are introduced to her brother very quickly, who is a theta, which is a frat on campus, a theta hottie. Okay. And he seems to have, caught the eye of all her roommates, but him and Kimberly in general, because like Chappelle said, she has the specific juice because the hot guys are like magnets to her vagina,
Hmm.
and they start hooking up. But turns out Nico is trash and actually has a girlfriend,
Yeah.
and
And
Leighton tells the girlfriend
she didn't have a
because
choice,
she's a
right?
girl's girl. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I'll give Mindy Kaling credit.
Yes.
One thing that I was not expecting going into this
Mm-hmm.
was that there's not a lot of girl on girl violence in this. There's
Oh,
there
okay. I
there
like
are
that.
misunderstandings, but then they get cleared up. Whereas like in other shows, you could tell like, oh, this girl might be threatened by this girl, and so they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
start doing catty things to each other, or this girl doesn't believe this girl. No, the women on this show, although there is some conflict, most of the time when it comes to social issues, they get on the same
Yes.
page, including this moment, right? Her brother Nico is cheating on her roommate, basically, well, or cheating
Mhm.
with her roommate on her best friend from high school, or a friend from high school, I guess, some girl
Yeah.
she knows. And when she shows up, she's like, "No, Nico, you need to tell her, or I will tell her." And I think any other situation or any other show, it would be more ambiguous, right? Like she wouldn't know
Correct.
what to do. I don't know. It's my brother. It's my friend. I don't want to get in it. This, that, and other. Like they didn't even tell her. She wasn't even upfront with her about it. Like, hey, I'm dating your brother, or we're having sex. I wouldn't say dating is what they were doing, Sasha. They were
No.
just having a lot of sex
A
every,
lot, like,
like,
not
around the
normal.
clock. Like, yeah, like to the point where like, ma'am, you need to get help. And you definitely need to pee. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, so that's happening so much that Leighton is still able to be like, no, you're my brother and you're trash,
Mhm.
and you're going to do the right thing. And so she found a way to stick up for her friends. And I like that because I think across the board, there's plenty of opportunities for these women to not do that
Yeah.
for each other. And like I said, Mindy, you ate this one little thing. Okay. Like, yeah, you kept them on track. I like this a lot.
Yeah, I think it was really good, and again, there's not like, it's a really fast-moving show where
Yeah.
conflicts come up, conflicts end, conflicts come up, they end. They get a resolution. So, you're right, I really appreciate that, and I think that's why folks are attracted to Leighton in many ways because she's so no nonsense when it comes to anything and everything, and which is why when she's hooking up with that suburban mom one night, right? And things go bad. She kind of gets called out for being in the closet to where she's drunk. And instead of getting expelled, of course, they make her do 100 hours of community service because that would be worse than anything else that they could give for her. So shout out to the dean or whoever that came up with that. That was hilarious. And she ends up at the women's center. And Leighton gives very much like Republican
Hmm.
energy in when it comes to like social issues.
Old money, throw some money at it,
Yes.
be done with it. Let's move on. Hmm.
So she goes to the women's center. She's like, this is too woke for me. I can't do this. This is not for me. And again, the women's center is shown as like such a shell of what an actual women's center is, right? Like it's very much like, we need to talk about safe spaces only. And they talk about gender spectrums, but again, in a very like comic way, maybe not necessarily what would actually be at a women's center that does a lot of really great stuff. But eventually this is like Leighton's arc, right? Of being a better person. And she ends up
Mhm.
obviously and dating the women's center like head. And that's where we meet Alicia, who ends up breaking up with her because Alicia's not ready to go back into the closet. And this kind of sets Leighton up for next season where she's like, okay, I'm ready to come out. She comes out to everyone and goes on a hook up spree. She's hooked up with everyone. And it gets pretty crazy because she gets the clap.
Yeah. Yeah, she goes, "I didn't know women could get that from women." It's like, "Yeah, you can." It's like that's the thing about college, right? That's when you're exploring your
Yup.
body and you're finding out things that can happen. And yeah, you've been doing a lot of swapping of
Fluids.
fluids, ma'am. Yeah, so yeah, you got it. And yeah, I think getting around the campus it runs in the family too, because Nico was no stranger to that kind of action either, like just being everybody's bedroom at different times. So yeah, that family has the juice. Okay, they just like
That part.
they be having sex, and so yeah, it catches up with her. She has to slow down at that point, but she eventually will meet a person who she wants to settle down with a little bit. She's looking
Mhm.
for someone, Sasha, who is like powerful and rich and blonde and white. Basically, she's looking for her.
Yes, she wants it to incest.
Yeah, she's looking for somebody who's just as judgy, uh, and condescending as she is, because she's got it. And that's where she meets Tatum, and those
Yes.
two start hooking up and become kind of like a thing.
And they're full on a thing until Leighton realizes, actually, I'm cool. I don't need this like junior that's so cool and so better than everyone that she doesn't want to do anything fun. And I personally, I don't know about you, Chappelle, but I hate people that think they're that cool that they don't want to like do, like that girl calls it Gen Pop things.
Yeah.
I find that to be bizarro.
Well, that's the thing. That was Leighton before she met
Yeah,
the women's center and met
basically.
Alicia. So she has been like not only has she been humbled in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
but she's also like she spent some time on the ground with the salt of the earth, and like she's like, oh, there are other people here who have things to offer that's more than just money and status. And so she still likes that stuff. She has the friends that she wanted. Now, if Leighton and Tatum had met on day one of her being in college, there's
Yes.
no way Leighton is gonna. She's like, I'm F Gym Pop. I don't want to be around these people.
Correct,
But
correct.
she's been growing. That's the point of college. You are growing. You're learning yourself. You're stretching yourself to
Mhm.
become a better person. And so her and Tatum aren't gonna work out long term. Especially because I think she's still kind of, now that she's out, the door is open for her and Alicia to get back together. This actress that plays Alicia, Midori Francis,
Yes.
I'm like Yasuda, Dr. Yasuda from Grey's Anatomy.
That's why I was
Love
like,
seeing
"Oh,
her
we
here.
know her." Yeah.
Yeah, I love her. So yeah, I'm hoping that we get more of that in the future because I like them. I like them together.
Yeah, they're great because again, they're just silly enough where Alicia's able to be that almost anchor for Leighton to be like, you're doing too much. You're acting
Hmm.
too extra. Like come
Yeah.
back down to Gen Pop, basically. Instead of Tatum, who's like, no, actually, let's just keep being weird and rich. So I really, it was really interesting to see Leighton's journey to go from like the women's center to this to back almost to like her old life, which is what I feel like Tatum is. And Tatum does help her like come out to her dad because they
Hmm.
just happen to be Tatum's dad and Leighton's dad, of course, are friends. They were in the same pledge class, I think is what they tell us.
Yeah.
And and then they're at dinner and Leighton just ends up coming out. And of course, her dad is so funny. Again, the Republican that I feel like we know this being from the South, right? The Republicans that we can stand.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's what the energy her dad gives me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah, he's like, he votes this way because it matches his financial bracket. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, yeah, like socially, he probably is a little bit more liberal than he let his friends
Mhm.
believe. But of course, she doesn't know that. She's like still trying to be the picture perfect person that like this legacy person. They're
Yep.
taking family photos. When her and her family went out in the leaves and threw the leaves up in the air, it was like it's giving Texas A&M. Like it's just like
Right? Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yes.
I was like,
It's
all
giving
right.
Dartmouth, all of those
Right, like, it's just,
colleges.
like,
That's where Mindy went.
very waspy,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
so
that's the best way. Mhm.
yeah, so yeah, she ends up coming out, and, now, the only other obstacle that she really has to, explore really is this, idea that she wants to be in this sorority, and, she managed to get in, but I think she wanted to be in the leadership role and even, maybe live in the sorority house.
Yeah, so she wants to be a Kappa. That's like she's a legacy as well. Her mom's a Kappa. So that's what she's always wanted is what we're getting from her. And that's great, but turns out maybe Kappa isn't exactly what she wants because at the end of the day they're still pretty heteronormative and they're able to, show their whole ass. I feel it when it's like Parents' Day for Leighton and Leighton's like, "Do I want this actually?" I don't know. Even though she's a social chair, I think, which like shout out. Being social chair is so hard, y'all.
Especially your
But
freshman year, dear God.
yeah, like why are we giving freshmen social chair?
She's got it. Hey, she's got it.
Even
Like, they said,
like
"Ladies tapped
sisterhood
in."
chair, because they're the most like excited
Yeah, but
and
social
new,
chair,
so
like, I
they
feel
don't
like you
hate
gotta
anyone.
be yeah, you gotta be tapped in to be social chair. You gotta know
A
all the
junior
things.
or sorry, a second semester sophomore or junior is the best social chair.
Been around long enough to where
Yes.
they know where to go, where not to go, who to deal
Correct.
with. And mind you, this is on the heels of her getting her basically them getting her brother kicked off of campus and his
Yes.
entire frat getting off campus. So she's got a lot of obstacles to overcome to do this.
And that frat hates them now. Theta hates them because Kimberly got like and we'll get to it, but oh my gosh, the fact that Nico and the Thetas are off campus and and then now Leighton is a like Kappa and having to do all this while her mom is, pushing her. But then we get a really beautiful moment with Leighton because the Women's Center is about to lose all their funding.
Mhm.
And Leighton has her mom, who was going to give a $20,000 donation to Kappa, to just move that donation over to the Women's Center. And we're able to save the Women's Center because of it. And that's the
Yeah.
sweetest thing. And this is
Yeah.
the growth of Leighton that we
Yeah.
get to see.
We love Leighton. Now, I don't know where RHAP is going, but they're gonna have to
Yeah, just for music apparently, but
I mean, they gotta throw some money at her. We need
come
more of this
on.
content, or like you said, someone's gonna have to step up and become like maybe the fourth person in this cast. I don't think we've met that person yet. I think if anything, they'll probably bring in somebody new, and they'll be like the new
Yeah,
it
that's
girl on
fair.
campus, or the new person that they all have to navigate around. But yeah, anytime we get Leighton on screen, I'm down.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? That's fair. I didn't think of like, yeah, we need to have another it girl because the only thing I will say, and hopefully this isn't a spoiler or anything, but this new the new trailer, the first person to speak is Leela.
Oh, so you think
And
maybe we could get Leela in that
I
position?
don't know. I love her so much. But
Yeah,
you're right that I don't think she's like the it girl though on campus.
right. Or
And we
even
need
just like just somebody who's different than the
yeah,
rest of them, right? I feel like
and we need
Leela's
like
too
queer representation too.
Yeah, I feel like Leela's too like she's too cool for
Mhm.
them. No disrespect. She kinda dope. I think you need to bring in somebody who's like either like already established or somebody who's new, completely new,
Yeah.
and we learn them, pretty raw out. It reminds me of when in Never Have I Ever out of nowhere we meet Anissa and we're like, is Anissa part of the crew? And she ultimately wasn't, but it was a
Mhm.
good like foil for Davy and the stuff that she had going
Exactly.
on for a while.
Yeah. Big agree. You know what? I think I'm with you that it needs to be a new person, actually. I
Do
like
you think
that.
she goes back to the well and gets like another Indian woman?
I hope not. The way
Do the
Mindy
same
Kaling
thing.
writes the Indian characters, boy.
Well, we'll get to Bella shortly.
Oh, bro. I will leave the podcast for that one. He just
Yeah.
wanted no, I'm just kidding. But yeah. Anyway, so we'll see who's gonna take up. It looks like she'll come back again, like we said, for a recurring character, but she's not the main, and that's unfortunate. That's what we got to talk about her first. And
Mhm.
now let's talk about. We talked about her a lot, so it's time. Pauline Chalamet as Kimberly, who again is a freshman, but she comes from like a working class background. She's not necessarily as affluent as everyone else at Essex. and she's from a small town called Gilbert, Arizona. Very white, very tiny. And her dad can't even handle tacos because they're
No,
too
too
much,
ethnic,
too
too
ethnic.
ethnic, too ethnic, too spicy.
Yeah.
Man.
So how do you feel about Kimberly?
I was today years old when I realized that was Timothy Chalamet's sister.
Okay, I was about
Had
to
you
say
not
that.
said her last
Great.
name, I was like,
That's like my
okay.
party trick to be like, "Did you know that's Timothy Chalamet's sister?"
I mean, you gotta knock me over with a feather. I was so confused. I did not know this.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm not familiar with her work prior to this,
Same,
but
yeah.
she's great. She's great in here because she's kind of representing somebody who's like at the school but cannot afford it.
Yeah.
A lot of these big name schools have people that come there on financial assistance, scholarship, whether it's fine, whatever. And she's one of them. She's
Mhm.
here and her parents can't really afford to send her here, but they want to give her the life that she wants, the dream that she wants, the school that she wants. So she's got to do a lot of things to make sure that she can afford to live there, including work at the campus. What, like, is cafe? Where are they at?
Yeah,
Is it?
or
It's
like the
not a coffee
coffee
shop.
shop, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So she's fun to watch too because I can relate to being a broke college student. That's one thing
Mhm.
about this that I was like, oh yeah, she's one that I've done a lot of the things that she's done. I've sold things that I shouldn't have been selling at the time. No disrespect to
Oh,
but
tea.
like you gotta do what you gotta do to make money to so you can afford to live. And so when she's on her hustle, I was like, yeah, I see her. I like Kimberly a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if I like Kimberly. I'll be
Really?
honest. Yeah. I don't know if it's, like, in reality, like, it's just the way she pulls the guys is crazy to me. Like, I'm like, this is unserious. Are there really
Yeah.
people like this out here?
Just
But then
blindly walking into hotness. She's got it,
yeah,
man. I think
and
yeah.
it's not even like I hate anyone. I think I enjoy all of them. It's just Kimberly's situation is so funny, and then where we end, right? Kim,
Mhm.
her, and Kanan, that
Yeah.
really put me over the edge a little bit. But,
Mhm.
up until then, you're right. Like, I think Kimberly is, like, such a funny she's that, like, friend that's too woke. That's the best way to say it, where she's working at Sips, and that's where we're introduced to Kanan and Leela. Again, hilarious. And she's like, "I'm very excited to have a Black, African American, what is it, friend?"
Yeah, she's trying hard. Like I won't even know if she's too woke, but it's kind of like she's so a fish out of water that she doesn't want to mess
Yeah.
up. So she's like, got to
Mhm.
make sure she doesn't step on any toes the whole time. And they pick on her a little bit, lie to her and be like, oh yeah, like I'm struggling and my mom had to sell, whatever. But yeah, so she's going again the whole time, trying not to offend anybody. But I think working on campus really does ingratiate her with, the realness of the people who
Yeah.
go to school, right? Because everybody's not going to be super rich or have affluent parents that are, politicians. The real people are the ones who are trying to make it and better their lives in college. And so she's one of them. And so that's why I relate to Kimberly the most. I
Mhm.
remember, my biggest hustle when I was in college, I was selling pee because I was not a
I know
smoker.
you fucking lie.
I was not a smoker. I did not smoke
First
weed.
of all, the fact that you
Um,
weren't a smoker is crazy.
I mean, why?
Right, because you still never do, but,
Duh. And
you
so,
just
but I
seem like
wasn't.
the type. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, no. Listen, I know I'm not listen, this face you could never imagine. But listen, I found out people needed to pass drug tests. And I was like, oh, you just need pee? I could tell you pee. I was running a factory. I called and told my mom just to see what she would say because I knew she can't stop me. She flipped out. I was like, you should be
Yeah,
happy my pee is
okay.
clean. Cause now, baby, that's out the window.
I did not know this about you until right now,
Yeah,
and
I mean, we
that's
never talk about the clean days.
crazy.
Yeah. That's why when I said I was
Oh
selling
my
something, I was like,
god.
it sounds more nefarious than it is, but no, I was squeaky
I
clean, and
I
so was
I
my pee.
dated someone that, was maybe selling the things that needed the clean pee,
Uh-huh.
and he did go to jail, because he got
Oh
caught
yeah.
on the Dallas border. Oops.
Mhm.
And then, just became a completely different person.
See, my hustle, from
Yeah.
what I can understand, sounds legal. I didn't know no
More
rules against it.
legal than what my then
I wasn't gonna
boyfriend
get
was
pulled
doing.
over, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so Kimberly, she's gonna do random hustles as well. What's
Yes.
what's the thing she does? It's not a sleep study. She does something to make some money. What was it? She was
Oh,
she was transcribing the
yeah.
captions for like basically Love
Australian dating
Island.
show. Yes.
Yeah, like Love Island Australia, basically. That is something that you would think would be very easy for people like me and you who watch a lot of TV. But honestly, when they get to grunting and groaning and stuff like that, and they're, like she had to transcribe the sounds that they were making as well because it gets kind of sexual. Not the
And
hustle, but
she can't do drunk Australians. It doesn't work for
right.
her.
It's a lot. And so she's constantly hustling, and things are going to get worse because she gets herself in some trouble too.
Yes. So she's basically working at SIPS and has a scholarship, which is great. Then she gets caught up with Nico because she does have a boyfriend and does lose her virginity to this boy named Max, who's kind of useless. And why is he so hairy?
She loved him. Okay.
He
I don't know this. I don't know
looked
why
like he
women
had a
make the decision
sweater
they make.
on and he was shirtless.
Some people like that.
For sure. Listen, and there's nothing wrong with hair. Again, unfortunately, Mindy is correct. The Indians are hairy. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we are. So I can't talk at all.
Except Bela. She got the surgery. Remember, she said she
As
got
she
her.
should. She had Botox in her underarms. Listen, laser is great. Okay. I just started, y'all. I loved it. But listen,
good.
we are hairy people. But it's so I can't talk. But it's just it was so funny because they're like making fun of how he sheds when he walks. But either way, Max hits it and quits it immediately. How dare you? Don't do that to girls.
I didn't say she was sad. I said he's sad. Look at that.
I thought you said same, and I was like,
no, I said sad. Sasha, how dare you? Not me with my squeaky clean pee.
Never wholesome.
Never
wholesome Q. Sorry. And then of course that's how she gets involved with Nico because she needs a French tutor, and then she gets a UTI. Foolish.
I go pee.
And then and that's when she's behind because she's having too much sex. So
which
she's
is crazy.
Behind.
Which is crazy. How do you tell folks that you?
Class?
I mean, but she wasn't skipping class, Sasha. She was leaving work. She was skipping class.
Fair.
She was skipping. She wasn't breathing without this man inside of her.
Find me if I missed anything, so it was impossible.
That's the point of joining those organizations. Like people think that joining a fraternity or sorority is for like status, and then which it is, right?
Yeah.
It's for networking, sure, but you got to keep that GPA up, or you're gonna make us look bad. So
I was on probation my first year because again, stupid. First of all, don't be a first semester freshman and join an org that never had to work hard in high school. You know what I mean? It's just a recipe for disaster. I got it together. Yeah, I got it together in the second semester, but only because my sorority was like, "Well, you're on probation; you can't do anything."
Right.
So, what are we
good
gonna
are
do?
you?
Yeah.
Look, so at least you weren't addicted to sex with an upperclassman like this woman was, because she cannot breathe without. I mean, they're like on a time schedule. He's sending her like the "you up" text in the middle of the day while Sasha, they tried to do it in the dean's office, like the teacher's office.
No, and just her econ professor because she needs extra credit and she's getting a different kind of extra credit.
Yeah, she got. I mean, that was the cringiest part of this. That's when you know you need help. Like they should have sent her to. There should have been a social worker involved at that point. Correct. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I feel like we've crossed the line when you're having sex.
Imagine getting a phone call, or if you were ever in that position. My
mama would have sniper rifled me from across the world. Like
yeah.
I would have been dead on arrival.
Would have been shipped to India. There's no impossible.
They couldn't have told her folks.
And I would have gotten married off in India.
They didn't tell her folks. They couldn't have. They couldn't have, because your parents are going broke sending you here, and you out here having sex in the teacher's classroom. Absolutely not. They kept it to themselves. They didn't tell them.
There's no way, and thank God. Do you remember when you found out that your parents couldn't figure out your grades? That's the worst thing I figured out.
Oh yeah, like my mom. I remember when she found out that she couldn't, because she was like, "Get the people on the phone. I need to fill out the form, whatever. Give me Give me the FERPA form. I need that form." I was like, "No, I got it."
You know what I used to do? I used to be like, yeah, just take my it used to be called Ozone or something like that.
My login.
Login. I used to give the whole login just one number off.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know why it's not working.
And I was like, look, it's working for me. And then I would show it on my laptop and they're like, what the hell? This is weird. So thankfully I used their like boomer, internet lacking skills against them. But listen, okay? That's why listen, if a creepy guy's asking for your number, just give one digit off. This way, if he calls you and you're in danger,
or if he asks you the number, you can repeat it back and you know that it's just a one digit off. Don't get fancy. You know what I'm saying? Keep it cute.
Yeah. Just do one or 2 digits. That's it.
Mhm.
Don't be dumb. So anyway, yeah, poor okay, shambolic. And then she ends up, right, like you said, having all these hustles because she has our boy Nico says, well, Theta has all these tests. And this, when I tell y'all, Chappelle and I were in, he was in a black org, like Greek letter org. I was in a multicultural, like, well, South Asian org. There is no way any of us would do this shit.
No, this is insane.
Like I was like, what in the white fraternity? Because they have years of data. First of all, I never had a house.
No, we didn't have a house.
So yeah. Anyway, where the hell would anything be stored? Because we're fighting for our life trying to get the letters stored.
Right. Lucky we
Remember
we
being
can
like,
get merch.
who's storing the letters?
Yeah.
Why do we make
Who's
them
keeping
so
all
big?
this shit? Yeah, yeah. Who's keeping all this? Don't get me to this day. I have a shield in my house, and I don't know what to do with it.
We used to have our letters had glitter on them, and they were 6 feet tall. I'm 5 foot tall.
Yeah,
that's why you have to date boys for these reasons, but not the point.
See, they have every assignment, basically every test or whatever, just stored from years. Now, passing tests down is a tale as old as time in colleges. People still do it to this day. They pick their professors based on the ones that they do the same test over and over again. So this is not unheard of, but cheating in college is like the worst thing you can do. Like every college has like a clause in their code of conduct, an ethics code that is going to say like the moment you cheat, it's a wrap. You're getting expelled. You're out of here. This, that, and the other. And so not only does she cheat, she gets caught. And she actually had a little decent of a scheme going with her cheating. Like she had the UTI, so she had to keep going to the restroom. And she was on the pills, right, or whatever that was making her go back and forth. And so she was using the test, but she had it in like the stall inside of the toilet. So in my mind, I was like, okay, that's a decent hiding spot. Like I actually was very impressed with the ingenuity because who would have thought to put it in there? But
fair.
They still caught her. My thing was the back and forth to the restroom was obviously going to get somebody's attention.
That's my point. Because here's the thing: how like dumb or under pressure maybe are you that you cannot figure out to just learn the answers by heart?
Right. Go in there, memorize it real quick, and then come back while you only have to regurgitate it, seconds later. She was going in there. I think this must have been a hell of a test. I mean, yeah.
It was economics, so you and I could.
Oh, baby, I didn't even take econ. That wasn't
the one math credit you have to take. I took social statistics. I didn't even take regular statistics.
Well, yeah, I took social statistics and logic. Like,
yes, me too.
Logic. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, sure. You know what? Math, algebra, logic.
Yup.
Yeah.
Oh, but even then, I was struggling. I was like, what?
Right. Right. But
I still don't know how I passed those classes, guys. It's so embarrassing.
No, I've seen some crazy cheating schemes, but this one right here, like, okay, I thought like it was a decent effort, but going back and forth every 5-10 minutes was going to get somebody's attention. She gets caught. And
and just embarrassing. And here's the thing. This is where I relate to her. I feel like I'm not good at being sneaky. Like I feel like I get caught when I try to be sneaky. So this is where it's just like some people just shouldn't do things.
Yeah, she just shouldn't have done it. But then again, she really didn't have a choice, right? Because she was about to get put out because she was gonna fail this test. She was about to fail and get put out. So she tried it. She gets caught, and then they could put her out of school.
Yeah,
but instead she loses her scholarship, which is just as bad as getting put out of school when you don't have any money. Because this is an extremely expensive school. Like I said, this ain't something you could just work it off. She's gonna have to hustle, and find other ways. She tries to get a sponsor at some point, right?
Yeah. She needs a co-signer for her loan. So that's where Leighton comes in. Leighton's like, listen, I love math. I love economy, all of this. So I will help you. And she goes and she's like, we'll get you a loan. And she's about to get a loan, but she needs a co-signer. And she's not going to tell her parents.
Yeah.
So now and she gets her professor. And she has the chutzpah to even ask the professor. Yeah. That's crazy. Can you imagine asking a professor?
No. I'd have been homeless and out of school, and and I wouldn't have told my mom. I would have just been at the school, living on the campus, trying to figure out a way to take 2 or 3 classes, like part-time. And I've seen this before too, as well. I've never seen anybody get close enough with their professor where they'll co-sign. That's crazy.
Yeah, and of course, the professor's husband is a scumbag and wants to F her. So it all goes to hell. The professor does think about it and does the right thing and does not co-sign a loan. And
Mhm.
eventually, Kimberly says, "Great, I'll just sell my eggs,"
Again,
and she
like,
does.
yeah, she got to. She gotta do it. So,
Woof. And that,
I
and
mean,
then she also outs the Thetas because she's like, "I'm not
mm,
going down. I'm gonna give them the bigger whale." And that's how the
uh-huh,
Theta house gets shut down because she ends up
yeah,
stealing the test from the nothing, anything but clothes party. Which
which,
again,
been there, done that, got a
yes,
t-shirt or lack
correct.
thereof. Yeah.
Yep, I did dress up as a present also, but
Oh,
not in the
yeah.
same way that she did.
Really?
My whole dorm, like my whole floor was like helping me put
Gift
this shit
wrapped.
together. Yeah, like
Yeah.
gift wrapping me.
Nico gave her permission. Were you surprised
Yes.
that, like, him being like, "Save yourself, throw the fraternity
Where's
under the
the
bus"? 'Cause
least he can do after
it
he's
really
like
was.
embarrassed for being a cheater in many
Yeah.
ways now?
I think he tried to make it right. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, this feels like, okay, I played in your face, and so he gets kicked out. The fraternity
Mhm.
gets kicked out as well, and so they have to spend the next season 2, trying to figure out a way, okay, how do we get them back in their good graces because they got blackballed across campus. They
Yes.
couldn't come to any of the parties.
And that's real. I feel like Greek orgs, how much ever they might fight, if someone does not, if like a GDI, I will say, like a independent,
Mhm.
doesn't work well for one org, orgs are gonna talk, and you're gonna get cut out really quickly.
I mean, she got them kicked off of campus. Get me wrong, it was their
Yeah,
fault, but you can't play those games. You know what I'm saying? Like
I
that's
would never have anyone that got someone kicked off campus in my for like
no,
sorority
no,
anything. Get out of here,
no,
bro.
no. Stop it.
Imagine, no way.
Shenanigans.
So, yeah, so that ends up happening, and of course, like you said, she ends up selling her ex, she's good. Now enter the newest hot boy love interest.
Yeah, this isn't even really a storyline. It's just this random guy who's very attractive and has a lot of sex, really likes her.
A tornado, because he's from Kansas, a tornado takes this guy's dorm out, so he's now at Essex, and they keep I know his name is Jackson, but they call him a climate refugee.
Which is crazy because he's from Kansas.
He's from
Like,
Kansas, he's like a farmer boy, and that's, like, why
yeah.
he's hot. And, my again, the favorite way to describe how much sex this guy has, they call it the loudest, most performative sex ever.
I mean, it's pretty loud. Like, and
It's not
honestly,
it's porn, like, it's not real.
right, and then well, that's the thing. It was loud prior to him meeting Kimberly, but when they started doing it, it's just as loud. Like, she's yelling his
Yep.
name. Everybody knows that it's him. They have no problem with this. I was like, "Alright, whatever." It's too much,
Couldn't be me.
like,
No.
hang it up, man.
It's Trey Songz was playing Neighbors Know My Name for real.
My name. Yeah.
No, no, anyway. Yeah, he's just a climate refugee has no story, just a hot man. And he gets just as much written out because they have nothing in common. So they
Mhm.
wrap that up really quickly, move on. And she is now finally in with Kanan, right? Who we'll talk about in a little bit. But Kanan has made moves and been a situationship to a relationship question mark with her roommate Whitney, and eventually they break up, of course.
Mhm.
But and I don't feel like they ever had anything going, like, it was weird, and watching it for the second time, you could really tell it was forced with Whitney, and that it maybe should have been these 2 all along, because they work together at Sips, blah, blah, blah. He invites, Kanan is, like, this really smart, techie bro, and he's getting, like, a really great econ award or something, and some award. He takes her there. They have a little moment, and then eventually at the end of the season, they kiss.
Yeah, and, I talked a lot about how, Mindy hasn't done a lot of girl on girl crime, but this is probably the closest it gets is
Yes.
that, like, she's kissing her roommate's ex. Now, mind you, they haven't been together in a while, right? Her
He's
roommate,
seen Whitney have sex with another man in the library.
he literally walked up on them having sex in the library, which is, again, crazy.
Yes.
Stop doing this. And so, like, y'all will end up sex offenders. Stop playing games. These people will arrest you. especially you, Whitney. Stop it. You know
Yeah, that part.
like, because we're gonna get into her and her
Yes.
family as well in a second. But yeah, so it's not exactly crossing streams too much, but people don't play about their exes. I don't know. For me personally, whenever one of my friends dates somebody, at the moment they date, that person becomes completely unattractive to me.
Yep,
Like,
same.
hey, off limit. I don't even see you as a person anymore. I'm sorry. So for this to happen and Kimberly and Kanan to start to link up a little bit more, you know, it says something about the chemistry between the two of them, but also this thing pushes Kimberly to Whitney to eventually want to move out of the dorm.
I've only ever dated two people from the same fraternity, and even then they were like years apart. So it didn't even count. But that's like the closest I came to like friend group. They were never friends. But outside of that, I don't know how these people do it. I don't know how these
Yeah.
people do. It's weird. It's weird.
Crazy
It's so
talk.
weird.
Crazy
Nope.
talk. Should we talk about Whitney, or is she
Yes,
just
let's
such a
do it.
non-factor that we need to talk about somebody
No,
else?
we should. It's just I just feel like Whitney deserves better, that's all, like, with her storyline, but, of course, we have Aaliyah, Chanel Scott as Whitney, who is a freshman, and, of course and is, a wealthy senator's daughter, from Seattle, and she's also a soccer player who's really good. But her storyline, I feel, more than Kim, which is so weird to say, always is evolved around men or boys. And like weird, sorry, that's rude. I take it back. Not my type, white men.
Oh, okay. So yeah, let's come out the gate and talk about it.
Yes.
She immediately has a relationship with Dalton, and as you said, he's a white man, but he's her assistant soccer
Assistant.
coach,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so immediately, the first relationship we know that she has is already like we're like, the power dynamic between these two is weird,
Yes.
and it is. So they're trying to keep it on the wraps. Of course, she doesn't want her teammates knowing that she's sleeping with their coach, but also her mom's a senator, and that probably wouldn't look the best. Come to find out, this man is married, and he does like the typical, like, oh, me and my wife are gonna get a divorce. We're
He's
basically already divorced.
diabolical.
She falls for the oldest trick in the book. Like there's not 1 second where I didn't think he was lying to her. Not 1 second. Like even though
His
like
face gives me grimy.
yeah, he just got that the ick all over him, and so he's doing the dirt, and eventually it comes out, and she shuts it down, because she's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I can't do this, can't be the other woman, this is crazy, da 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 da. Only to find out later on that it leaks out that this is happening, and then there's scandal because now people know that this man is having sex with his players because he does it again with someone else. So she's just another person on the hit list, and it's tough. Her mom's a senator. This can't get out. It does get out. It gets out. There's a witch hunt for who the person
Mm-hmm.
is. She throws her poor friend under the bus, which is
Her
hilarious.
lesbian, yeah, very queer presenting
Yeah.
and is friend under the bus to her mom.
I believe she called herself the LeBron James of hooking up with girls. And so,
Yes.
yeah, so you thought Leighton was bad. This woman's like, been there, done that. And so she's pretending that she's the one who had sex with the coach just because they're trying to protect Whitney, her reputation, and her mom's whole reputation as a senator. And
Yep.
yeah,
And the
crazy talk.
coach, the head coach saves her because she says, "You're 18. No one needs to know that you did this, and that this doesn't need to be following you around for the rest of your life." But unfortunately, that coach gets fired because of it, which is so
Yeah.
unfortunate because they really showed that coach to be a good person, but it seems like they just kind of cleaned house. Um, and Essex has a really bad disparity between the male and female soccer like programs anyway. So I feel
Mhm.
like this just super highlighted that because they get like some lacrosse coach or whoever, I don't know, someone that doesn't even know what offside is to come
Mhm.
and be their coach for nationals.
Yeah. So they lose,
Yep.
obviously, but people aren't too hard on Whitney. Like I told you,
Yep.
the women are not too bad on the women in the show. Like the other team, the teammates feel like they might have some animosity for a little bit, but then like they very quickly come around and be like, bro, you're a victim. Like this is not, and also
Yeah.
she's the best player on the team. So like you can't run her off because y'all would not have been in this position anyway. So she ends up leaving the coach to go date Kanan, as we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And by
Yeah,
date, it started off as like a one night stand,
it
then it
was,
turned
and
into
she was so
dating.
happy that it was a one night
Yeah.
stand again, like Yeah. But then of course she ends up dating him. But they never seem like good. And I even made this note that they're slowly starting to show Kimmy like every time in the background of things. Like he's always talking about
Oh.
her, or like her bed is because Whitney and Kimberly are like literal roommates instead of just suite mates.
Mhm.
And Bela and Leighton are the roommates as well on the other side. So they like when they hook up, there's like a pan to like
Her
Kimberly's
bed.
bed. So
Yeah.
it's just all of it to me now was like Easter eggs leading up to them too. But either way, it just doesn't work because then in season 2, obviously soccer's over. And Whitney is like doesn't really have something to do. She's like, I'm gonna just take the easy classes until it's time again. But her whole team has other things going on. So she's looking and fumbling and bumbling, trying to figure out where she fits in. And she overhears Kanan literally at a party saying that she has nothing going on. Can you imagine?
I mean, but she doesn't have anything going on. You know what I'm
But
saying? Like
she
she got
also
offended.
got into Kappa. So what's going on here?
Yeah, but she didn't care about that. You know,
Yeah,
like she
fair.
doesn't even consider that anything going on. She's like did
Mhm.
that on a whim, and she's like, oh yeah, like halfway putting herself through that. I think next season we might really see what it looks like when
Yeah.
she is active in Kappa, especially because Kappa looks like a predominantly white organization, and she's very black. You know, and so I think that if she spent a lot of time with Kanan and a lot of his friends, right? And it was honestly a people of color. You know, she was hanging out
Yes.
with the black folks when she was in
Yeah.
her downtime, when she wasn't struggling with her schoolwork, which we would talk about a little bit. But
Mhm.
I could imagine there's gonna be a shift from that if she's now moving into the Kappa house. She might be coming out looking a little different, later
Yep.
on, like maybe picking up some personality traits that aren't really the initial way that she was
Ooh.
acting because she was very like tomboyish, I guess I would call it, very
Yeah.
sporty. And
Yeah, she
Kappa
wears,
is
like,
not
sneakers with, dresses, like, that was a big
right.
part that Leighton even
Yeah.
pointed out.
But
Mhm.
Kappa's not like that. And so if she's going to live with them, that's the one thing we will say about organizations, at least I can say specifically,
Yeah.
um, an organization can change you if you're not very strong in who you
100%,
are. But
100%.
one thing it's going to do is look homogenous. A lot of, they're going to dress the same. They got colors that they got to wear. If she's going to lean into being a Kappa, oh, yeah, she might come out of there looking very different than the Whitney that we already knew.
And unfortunately, we all know those people.
Yeah.
And we're speaking from
Organization makes
experience.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where you're just like, "Oh, that" when you find out that org, you're like,
The best
checks
thing that ever
out."
happened to you. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just, so I feel like we need to know more about Whitney's story because then, her and Kanan eventually end up breaking up, and it's just like, again, awkward. But I appreciate Kanan at the K&J house. Again, is that like a fraternity house, or is that just like, maybe the black, folks, like, maybe they have a house together, or, like a
Yeah.
dorm area, but it's a house?
It
I
seemed like
couldn't
that.
tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were obviously Kappa, like, as in Kappa Alpha Psi. Because did you see
Yeah, they
those
had
guys with the
canes.
candy canes? And I was like,
Yeah.
seen those."
Well, see, that's the thing. I went to HBCU, so like we didn't like all the organizations were black. So
Right.
like not
Of
all of them. We
course.
definitely had some international organizations as well. But what no, like it was no like we need to have a safe space for
Yeah.
just us.
Oh,
The
I
whole
see what
campus
you're
is a safe
saying.
space for us.
Mhm.
So this was very foreign to me. But yeah, she seemed to find like some community there, which is
Yes.
cool. But once she sees Whitney and I mean Kimberly and Kanan kissing at the end of the season, she's like, nah, I don't want to room with these people sophomore year. I gotta go stay with
Yeah.
my sorority sisters. So oh, Sasha, what did you think about her picking up the hard classes though? Because that was
Yeah, that's
a
what
crazy turn of
mhm.
events.
Yeah, because I think she needed a challenge. I think it's that competitive spirit in her, right? It just needed to be challenged somewhere else because we haven't talked about Bella, but Bella's parents forced her to basically take this like hardest class on campus, biochem. On my campus, I feel like at Oklahoma, it was anatomy. And
Mhm.
everyone talked about how hard that class was. So I remember like hearing about like one single class being the hard class. So looks like biochem is it. So they take it, and Whitney like isn't necessarily number 1, but she's maybe like number top 5 seems like eventually because she keeps working at it and
She gets
falls in
better.
love. She falls in love with this work and she's like, "Yeah, let's talk about yeast and its different times."
Yeah, she starts liking biochemistry and also liking her biochemistry partner,
Mhm.
Andrew, which I mean, we haven't
I didn't
talked
even know he
about
had
it.
a name. Oh my god.
We haven't talked about it yet. Mindy
Yes.
Kaling loves a good interracial relationship, okay? She is like,
Every
that's her
single
shit.
character is dating a white person.
That's their shit. That's her shit, okay? That's her bread and butter. All right. So here we are. Um, we got Andrew. He's very competitive as well. He really doesn't take Whitney
Mhm.
seriously when it comes to her studies, but she catches him with his arms out one time, and sometimes that's all
Yes.
it takes.
Yes. Unfortunately, yes. It is it. To
Yeah.
me, a good deep voice and arms, it's over.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
you might add, like, some nice eyes. Oh my god, please.
he packed her up very quickly. She
Yeah,
was like,
very.
she was falling over him, and then next thing you know, like they have another one. They have nothing in common. They're nothing alike. But you
Just
know,
sex.
physicality is there. They end up trying to have sex in the library, which again is weird. Stop having sex
What
in
are
public.
we doing? Like,
Here. I am kink shaming. Yes, it's illegal. Stop doing that because you will go to jail. Like you will end up on a registry. Stop it.
and why don't like, y'all have rooms. You're at this very expensive college paying probably shit ton of money for room and board.
Yeah. I just don't want you to end up on a registry. You know what I'm saying? Like I
No.
understand the appeal of the public displays of affection. I get
Yep.
it. I understand the appeal, but also it's not worth it. It's not worth it. This is bad. Don't do that.
And again, for Bio Bro, be serious. I will say he's one of the hotter men in the show. I feel like the show needs to do better with casting hotter people, according to Sasha, of course. Because listen, different people have different attractive levels. I get it. But I just feel like there's not a lot of attractive men on this show as much. Bio Bro for sure is.
Do you
So,
recognize him from anything else?
oh no.
That's
See, that's my problem.
no, that's Will Smith's best friend from the Bel Air show. Oh, you know, he
The
goes to school.
druggie?
Tyler. No, Tyler, the guy who's on the basketball team with the other white guy. Yeah.
Oh!
That's his boy.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. He does not look like that on Bel Air.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
I
him.
guess. Is that why he plays basketball in it?
Yeah, I
So
thought it was so
I
fitting because
know.
he plays basketball in this too. I think his name was Tyler,
And
right? That was his
Whitney's
name.
favorite movie is Love and Basketball too,
That's so
which again,
typical.
a bit on the nose. Um,
Yeah.
but also Whitney has a few like social commentary, right? We have the like power dynamics with her
A
coach
coach.
and
Mhm.
her TA also constantly mistakes her for the other black girl in the class.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "Oh, even though I'm not black, again, as the India, same shit. Are we
Yeah.
surprised?"
It happens. It
Yep.
happens. Yeah.
And, of course, when she calls him out kindly, I feel like she just says, "Hey, I am not the other black girl. I'm Whitney. I'm not Monique." Um, or sorry, I think that's the other girl's name, but I can't remember. It's with the M. But either way, I'm not her. I am this. And oh my god, the TA has a whole white fragility moment where he's just like, "Oh shucks. I'm sorry. I'm not a racist." No one said racist, just microaggression.
Right. But also like I shouldn't have to apologize to you because you messed my name up. You know? Like we're
Right.
not doing that.
So it's just like really uncomfortable. But again, things are okay. Because Whitney, things seem to be going up for her as a biochemistry genius. Because listen, the one thing about these girls, they're smart. Because Leighton
Yeah.
math, like a genius.
Well, some of them are smart.
Yeah. Oh my god.
We haven't gotten to our girl. Is it time?
Oh my gosh. Yes, it's time.
Now look, when you told me about this show, you were like, it's like if Davey went to college. I was like, okay, cool. And like that was like the very baseline way of explaining this show to me, right? Like never have I ever if it went to the next level. So I come in expecting something of Bella, right? Like I'm thinking Bella's gonna be just like my girl, my daughter, my child, Davy. Okay, Davy is A-type personality. She's competitive. She ain't taking no guff from nobody. She like there's more Leighton in Davy than there
Yes,
probably is Bella, right?
period.
Because Davy's a horny one. Okay, she's trying to have the sex. That's her thing for sure. But at the same time, Davy would never let her grades fall off. And Bella,
Imagine.
what are you doing? Man, I mean, she out
1.8,
here just
more like 1
fum-
point great.
fumbling the bag. I know.
Constant, everything. Name
How
what
does she
she
go
hasn't
home?
fumbled.
How does she go home to her family?
Her
1.8?
family nicer than mine.
Look, there would be
I
no
felt
home.
lie when I was on probation.
Right. Oh, lie, lie, lie. Maybe that's what she's gonna do. Cause Bella is She is not. She's no Davy. She's no
She's
Davy.
useless. I don't know how else to describe this person, and it really bothers me. I love Amrit Kaur, that's who plays Bella, and like we said, Bella is an Indian American freshman from New Jersey. Again, very on the nose, who wants to become a comedy writer and
Okay.
wants to like let go of all her like nerdiness, which is again, this is like a Mindy Kaling classic, right? Where the Indian girl has to think of herself as a loser who's found herself in whatever next
Reinvented herself.
yeah,
Yeah.
reinvented, and she has to be hairy and she has to be sweaty.
Yeah. Well, Bella took care of the hair and the sweat. She got
Yeah,
she handled
she got the
the
acne
tropes.
treatment, and Botox,
Mm,
but either way, it's just like, why? Why can't the Indian girl just be cool and normal? But no,
yeah.
she's repressed, apparently, because she wants to be an SNL writer, and the first step of being an SNL writer is work for the Catalan, which is, and these kind of places definitely exist, where they are these like feeders into SNL or whatever, where comedy in general. So she wants to work for this group and she's very passionate. So she's like she's at a Catalan party and she's like, great, I'm passionate. And she gets told really quickly that misogyny rules the world because there are only so many female spots. And she said, great, it's important for me to get in. And she does what to get in?
Is it 8 hand jobs?
6.
6?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I lost track. I lost count. She just like handy J's left and right. Cause she felt like, okay, if I can get you a hand job, that'll get me into the room to have the discussions. And maybe, since it's a boys club, they'll vote for me. And you know what? To her point, she was right. That helped get her in the door. It didn't hurt for sure with her getting selected, but it did help. I mean, it didn't help at all with her like fitting in because the women on the newspaper apparently are dating some of these guys, and she didn't check with them before she started handing out hand jobs.
And she has 0 sexual experience. I'm like, "What? Oh my god, can no one help these girls that are just showing up and, like, these men are just like or they're letting these guys take advantage?" Because listen, at the end of the day, she says, "Hey, I enjoyed it," which I appreciate her saying that, but that's
Yeah,
still so out of pocket. Don't do this, everyone.
yeah.
If
Uh,
you're a girl going into college, you are better than this.
yeah.
Just stop.
Um.
Stop. And
Also,
then yeah,
yeah.
please.
Say also. I mean, when you talk about the men in her life,
Oh my
is
god.
it safe to say our girl has a type,
Yes, just like Mindy.
just like Davy?
Yeah, which is Mindy. It's the type is like awkward, nerdy white man that's funny and
Mhm.
funny that degrades you.
Yeah, that's not really
And
into you
what does
all that
BJ
much.
Novak do to Mindy? You know what I mean? What did he do?
I mean, that's I'm not gonna say allegedly, but that's her baby daddy, right? Like,
Yeah,
do we know that?
allegedly, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I
But
mean,
since The Office, Mindy Kaling has had Indian women dogged by white men. Priyanka Chopra did not marry Nick Jonas for us to be dogged out like this over and
yeah.
over.
Um.
What's happening here?
I mean, she even starts off the season being like, "Here's my dream guy." Is it wasn't it
Yes.
Seth Meyers or something like
Yep.
that? Like,
Correct.
I was like, Mindy, we know, babe, we know.
Mindy,
Just tell
therapy.
us. Just tell us you and BJ got a thing. We got it. Like
Oh.
we gonna support y'all. I promise we gonna support y'all. We
Is agreed, and oh my god, it's like it makes my head spin. But then this is why I like Bella too, because like I just feel like that's my cousin, and I have to save her
you got
because
to.
she goes in to the Catalan auditions right list, and she's like, oh, I hope my name's on there. She records her own pep talk as she
Yeah,
walks in.
real.
Sorry, that is a badass.
That's real. I love
I
that.
love
I
her.
love it. So real. She's in a tight spot because she is funny. Okay, she
Mhm.
definitely deserves a part on this
Yeah, she
writing
seems like
room.
she's the best
Right.
freshman at least.
She's killing it because freshmen normally don't get picked for this thing. Now she did do some sexual favors, but don't get me wrong, she was still, even the women that she, her that she was like hand jobbing the boyfriends of, like those guys, those women. Yeah, they even supported her. Like, hey, you're
Mhm.
still fun. You're funny. The problem is now she has to deal with sexual harassment, and like, nobody should have to deal with this. But of course, it's a real issue that happens so much and goes underreported that
Especially on college campuses.
yeah, especially on college campuses. So she gets sexually harassed, and she kind of lets it go. Like, I'm not trying to do
Mhm.
XYZ. But then another woman that she's working with is sexually harassed as well, and she just lets her take the fall for it at first. I was like, Bella, come on, man, you were doing so well.
Oh my god, it's crazy because, at first Bella's like, "Oh, I think that just happened to you." So that girl was like, "Oh, okay, I think I'm just gonna quit then so I don't have to be in the same space as this weirdo." Then it happens to Bella again, and this time it obviously escalates a little bit, and then she's like, "Oh," in front of all her roommates, she's like, "I think I was part of silencing another woman, and
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
were.
realize I did that."
Yeah.
Again, it's just you're right that these women are thankfully so well written most of the time that
Yes.
it's like they're all girls because she quickly fixes it. Leighton's able to again be their ride or die to be like, and it helps the women's center get involved. So Bella then talks to the Title IX office, and then talks to the upperclassmen at the Catellan, and again, one of them being I think Jocelyn's her name, where who's now the new co-editor
Mhm.
because of this, but they are all so supportive. And Eric is a little bit annoying at first because he's like, I know Ryan. Ryan wouldn't do that. Blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. And it's like, yeah, you're not a woman and you're not his
Right.
type. So he's not going to do it to you.
Right. He wouldn't do that to you in front of you, you know?
Yes.
But but again, he comes around,
He
Eric
comes
eventually sees
around
it.
with
Yeah.
a written apology and he like on a
Yeah.
cue card and he's like, okay, I'm so sorry. And I will do better. And they do.
I like
And then
this.
it,
I like
yeah.
this approach, Sasha, a little bit different than like, yeah,
Yes.
there could be a story to tell where he never comes around, right? And we like,
Correct.
oh, we like, boo, boo him, boo, he sucks, da 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 da. But I would prefer, like, yeah, like, okay, let's say reasonably, this is a person that this was not his reality, right? So he faced with new information and he had to process it. He comes around, he figures it out, but then he did something to make amends. And I was like,
Mhm,
okay, if you can't use every moment to scold people, you gotta show people how this is handled correctly, right? And so
mhm.
for the women, I think all of them handled it correctly. Bella eventually kind of, and I think even with Eric, like he started off slow. I was like, come on, man, but he
Yep.
did come around as well. And I think that there's something to say about making media that shows like not only the bad things that could happen to you and the like, and telling stories of trauma that things that happened to you, but also
Mhm.
how you fix these situations when you want to come around and handle them the right way. And so I felt like that was very cool of them to show when most shows go completely in the opposite direction and we just call everybody assholes and move on.
Yep. Agree. It's just again, I very much appreciate the writing of almost everyone. It's just I don't like when Indians constantly get stereotyped on this show. It's like enough already. But outside
Mhm.
of that, it's very well written. And eventually, of course, Bella ends up quitting the Catalan because she's like, you know what? Actually, you suck. And I'm never gonna live this down. And it's constantly gonna be on my back. And I can be funny myself. So she starts the Foxy and all
Mhm.
of the girls from the Catalan, and other and Leela as well, my queen, ends up joining the Foxy, and they're just as funny, and they're taking off now. And her and Eric are now having a little moment where they're like enemies outside of the bedroom, but like lovers in. Because Bella tries to have sex with Abs multiple,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it doesn't do it the same way as a skinny guy with the pelvics.
Yeah. Davy would not relate to this. Davy
No.
liked some abs. Okay. She was
Correct.
all over Paxton. The problem is it seems like every Indian woman wants a bin. Like you need somebody
It's
who
just
you
not
can
true.
compete
I'm
against,
sorry.
who can neg you, who can, like nerdy, kind of,
Okay,
it's just
maybe we do like smart men. Oops. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you can be intelligent and not be Ben, and or Eric,
Let
and
a
so
man neg me, please. I'll me?
Karthik never negged you.
Ew.
He
The
negs you
old
now.
never. Be serious. He just makes like he'll try to neg, and then the problem is
You shut it
I
down.
am the like OG toxic. And
Yeah.
he can do it. It's just he's smart and understands that someone has to de-escalate.
Yeah,
and it
someone
will
has to
never be
de-escalate.
me.
Never.
Never. The only thing is he did make me feel dumb because on our first date, I told him how bad at math I was and, that I Googled percentage for for this grant I was writing, and later on in the conversation, he's a history nerd. She's like, "Do you know what the Vietnam War is?"
You're like,
And I was like, "What? You don't think I know?"
and he's like, "Well, you don't know math."
Yeah, and to this day, like, I will be like, "Remember that time you did that to me?"
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. Like, the thing is he
So that's
negs
the
you, but you'll never
closest neg.
forget. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the closest neg he's ever done, and he's never
Uh-huh.
done it again, I'll tell you that.
Well, these people are always combative.
Yeah,
Like, the
that's
trope
what
here
these Indian girls that's what Mindy Kaling's attracted to, obviously.
apparently, or maybe she's writing this about someone else. I don't know. Mindy, if you're listening
Ooh,
to this, come talk to us.
Mindy Kaling.
We just got questions. That's all. That's all. We got questions. I have a specific question about Never Have Ever. I know to talk to me about this, but also I really want to go back through episode by episode. But we'll get to that later on. Bella, she tries having sex with one guy, but she finds out he only really likes having sex with her because she's funny and like he's getting off on the jollies or whatever. I don't know what she called it called it when
Mhm.
the chuckles or something like that. I don't know.
Oh,
But
yeah,
now a chuckle chaser,
Chuck yeah.
something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But now she's got Eric, and I guess this is working. I mean, they're competing against each other, typical Davy Ben thing where he's got his paper, she's got her
Yep.
paper. But yeah, we've seen this before.
But that works. It's hot, apparently. But then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, Davy is like, Davy, oh my gosh.
See, look at that girl.
Bella. Yeah.
They don't all look alike, Sasha. Oh my
Oh,
god.
then stop writing them that way.
Can we
Then
bring? Hold on, pause. Can we? What is
yes.
Davy doing? What's the actress who plays Davy? What is she doing? She
Oh,
can't
my
come on the
thing is
show.
like she's around. Yeah, I don't think
Yes.
she's like
Where is
in
she
other
at?
shows, but I like follow her on Instagram and she's like posting
Yeah.
and I feel like she's in a lot of like shoots like market
Yeah, like very commercial and
yeah,
stuff like
commercial.
that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You know what? I would love to see her on the show, but also that's my
No,
child. I can't see her. Like, no, she can't go
I
to
don't
this
want her
school.
to have
No,
sex.
she can't go to school. No, stop it, Davy. We watched it on Never Have I Ever, and we're disgusted. We both were like, we didn't need this. So,
No, just do the like Indian Bollywood, right? Like the cutaway to the song.
yeah.
Oh my god! Because we even had a younger, again, another hot Indian girl named Priya show up who played Karen in the new version of Mean Girls.
Okay.
And so again, as like a thing for Bella, to be like, oh, there are other hot Indian girls. It isn't just me. No, we're not gonna compete. And Bella quickly corrects herself. But then Bella gets the Foxy. Okay, so there's two things now. Bella has the Foxy going and Eric. Turns out she F's them both up
Mhm.
because she gets to be a student liaison for a cool comedian. Things are going well. The comedian gives her credit for a little joke and says, hey, submit a writer's packet. Of course, Eric is like, well, I already have a packet ready because Eric has a few years on Bella. So, of
Mhm.
course, he has a writer's packet ready because he understands and patriarchy, nepotism, whatever you want to call it, has given him access through the Catellan to all of this because he's still the editor of the
Mhm.
Catellan. And that does not work for her. So she uses her sexuality to freaking like get ahead question mark because I don't
I think she just
what
had
is
sex with
it?
him. I don't even think she used it. I
Why?
think she just wanted to have sex with that man.
Yeah, and it makes no sense because then of course that guy freaking tells everyone
Mhm.
that he has sex with the Indian girl that couldn't stop quoting 30 Rock.
Right. And so Eric asked her point blank, like, you had sex with this guy? And she's like, what? No. He's like, he's telling everybody. And so now it's out. And so, yeah, she screwed this one up big time.
Yep. So, and not only does she screw that, because she also screws the Foxy twice over. Because one, she's selfish, and everyone apparently is okay with her being selfish. Because they're like,
Right.
oh yeah, there was a PR article written about the Foxy, but it became the Bella. And eventually it ends up, and she approves it. The guy was like, hey,
Well, she lied
maybe
and said they
yes.
did it without her approval. But even that came out. All of her
And
lies are
how
just like
dumb
come
are
to
you? This is
surface.
why she deserves that 1.8. Because are they dumb that they don't think that they're gonna just ask the guy to be like, "Why did you write this article like this?"
How do you feel about this new Indian trope that we're getting now, right? Because we normally get like the
Mhm.
type A Davy types, right?
Yes.
But Bella is not exactly. Do you feel like it's refreshing to see like someone like Bella who is? I mean, she's got a 1.8
Dumb.
GPA.
Yeah.
Davy would never.
Yes and no. I just feel like Bella still has that, like, typical, right? Like, her parents are still pushing her. So I do enjoy that she wants to be a writer. I think, yes, that feels way more relatable to me as someone that was never gonna do STEM anything. I
Mm,
took one AP bio class and I was like, "Oh, babes,
you're crazy.
that
I
we're
would
not
never.
doing this."
AP Bio. Stop.
Um yeah, there's no way. So that yeah, that feels exciting, but then it's like it's still the I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this, but it's still all the stereotypes, right? Of maybe rightfully so. I don't necessarily think they're wrong, but the physical stereotypes for sure, right? The hairy, sweaty, blah
Mm,
blah blah. And then oh, I'm not attractive. Sure. Some of those could be true because like a lot of our parents didn't let us, like my mom didn't let me wear contacts until like 7th grade.
mm,
And, there's, like, things that our parents, like, don't believe in, like, physically enhancing us, and my school in India definitely did not allow I had a highlight in my hair, and I had to, like, sit outside the whole day, like that yeah, because I was in trouble. Um, so all of that stuff can be true and should be talked about, and I think this, like, hyper competitive, always need to be ahead, lacking empathy, right? Like, those kinds of tropes could be true, but I feel like I would like to shed them.
yeah. Yeah.
That
Well,
was long-winded, sorry, but
no,
anyway.
no, no. I look, I
Yeah.
asked the question because I wanted to know.
Mhm.
I think Bella is an interesting character. I love to see what happens after this. So she has a relationship. Obviously, she messes that
Mhm.
up by sleeping with this other guy. She also screws over her friends. Where does that
Yep.
leave Bella by the end of the season? I don't remember.
So she was supposed to room with the 2 girls, from the Foxy,
Mhm.
but they were mad because they were like, "Listen, at least the article is, like, regular you being selfish, but then the fact that you were really disrespectful to this freshman that, Georgia, who, like, wanted to kinda looked up to you, and you just
Uh,
kinda dogged you just killed her dreams of being funny, is
yeah.
disrespectful." So Bella says, "Hey, I have a 1.8 GPA and I wanna transfer." And that's where we
Yeah.
leave her.
And that's where we leave season 2. We got our
Yes.
girls are in disarray. Whitney's moving out.
Mhm.
Leighton apparently is not coming back full
Also,
time.
obviously, her name is not Jocelyn. I'm so sorry. Jocelyn is the coolest person ever. The woman in the wheelchair.
Oh, that's my girl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love her.
Sorry.
Maybe she'll step
Um,
into the fourth role almost, you know
oh
what I'm
my
saying?
god,
Like a,
she's
you know,
so cool. I
yeah.
could
But
cry.
but yeah, it leaves us with our girls in disarray, right? Renee
Yes.
Rapp's not coming back full time. We don't know what that really means for Leighton in the show, but we imagine we will get less of her.
Mhm.
We also have Whitney who's moving out to go be a Kappa full time. Bella is transferring because I
Yes.
mean, honestly, if she goes home and tells her family what's going on with her grades, she might not make it back anyway. And then of course, we have Kimberly who's in a new relationship potentially with Kanan, or at least kissing Kanan enough to where there might be some
Mhm.
tension between her and Whitney. And so we have a lot to
Yeah.
look forward to with this season coming up.
A lot. And, I don't know if this is a spoiler, so fast forward a little bit, but, like, yeah, Bella is obviously gonna stay at Essex.
Obviously,
So,
well, I mean, what are we gonna
yeah,
talk about if she's not here, right? So
exactly.
we know she's coming back, but what
Yeah.
does that mean, right? She's coming back on
Mhm.
probation more than
They're
likely,
making fun of her 1.8 GPA already
as
in the
they should.
trailer. Yeah, they
Yeah,
should. Listen, you're still at, like, an Ivy League type school. Let's
right.
not
What are you
forget.
doing? Right.
And what is she doing? This is where I think it could be worth showing her having a conversation with her parents, right? Of like, "Hey, just because I'm Indian or we're Indian doesn't mean I should take classes and actively hurt myself." That is a very real conversation that would be nice to have.
Yeah, but at that point, they probably gonna tell her to come out of school. Like, like at that
Yeah.
point, they're gonna say, "We're not paying for you to get no liberal arts degree." And
Been there.
I was an academic advisor for years at a prestigious Christian
Mhm.
college, and I mean I was the biochemistry advisor, biochem, biology, great text of the Western tradition, and political science. So I had 2 degrees that wanted to be lawyers and 2 degrees that wanted to be doctors.
Of course.
So every minority walked in like, I gotta change my family came here from blank, 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 and blank, and they only want me to be a doctor. And then you know what they would do, Sasha? They would be like, I wanted to be a biology major so I could be a doctor, but obviously my STEM grades are bad, so I want to switch my major. I'd be like, oh, okay, what's your major? I want to be a lawyer now. If you these are two different brains that you are using, right? You got your science
Seriously.
brain and you got your liberal arts brain. And if you were a science person, you're just not that good. You're not good enough to be a doctor, but you still like
Correct.
science. You cannot just shift to go be a lawyer just because you don't. But that was to them, that was their like that was the only thing you could go home and tell your parents, right? It's like,
Mhm.
I'm in
Or
college,
engineer, I'm sure.
right? Or
Yeah.
engineer. It's like, hey, you want to major in English, and that's okay. I'm going to change your major, and also send you down the hall to the to the English advisor because
Correct.
me and the biochem students, we had to get along. But those are hard conversations that people have all the time, and so yeah, it's time for Bella to have that conversation as well.
Yep, and listen, my mom's still waiting for me to
Go to
become
med school.
become a doctor,
Yeah, you're like,
and I was
okay,
like, "Girl, be serious,
like
please. I
PhD,
married an
you know,
engineer, enough already, that
isn't
should
that
be
close
good
enough?
enough."
You know what I'm saying? Something. I'm
Damn.
look, not taking
Yeah.
that again. Stop it.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. So yeah, so that's the thing I would like to see for Bella. And for Kimberly, my God, Kimberly and Kanan is gonna be a huge thing, I'm sure. Not sure how and when. Maybe they might be like truly the end. So maybe they end up breaking up. Um
Oh, and then we got to
and
do the journey back together.
yeah,
Okay, okay.
that's
I don't hate it.
yeah, I don't know what you feel, and then I don't know what else for Kimberly. Maybe and then she wants to be in the trailer they showed. She's big on her like politics. Um, that's gonna be because she talks about it actually in the first episode. She wants to. She feels like her and her then ex boyfriend Max were Kamala and Doug, and I almost cried.
Oh.
I was like, no, shut up. So there's a joke with like her wanting to be a Supreme Court justice by 53. So maybe we're gonna see her with that. I hope Whitney, we really see like her story fleshed out. I don't know much about Whitney. I want to see her like explore her identity more because right they've like breadcrumbed us with the KJ house, with the TA, with all of
Jordan
this stuff.
Kappa.
Yeah. So I want to see like you talked a lot about her Kappa journey. So yeah, that's what I want to see more as well. So that's it now for real.
We did it. We kept it tight.
Yes.
Listen, for us to cover 2 seasons of
Yep.
television in an hour and a half is a lot because Sasha
And
and I
y'all
used to
know
spend this much time talking about one episode and never have I ever.
correct. And y'all know we're yappers, okay?
We
Please.
be going. We talk.
But, and we know we miss stuff, but we try to hit the main. And listen, I'm excited for season 3. It's gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be fun. And we're gonna be here talking through it all. Like we said, it'll be maybe like hopefully every 2 episodes. We're gonna be covering up until like end of December. And then we'll try to, if y'all know anyone that gets screeners for HBO, hit us up.
Let us know. Right.
Hit
Let
us
us
up.
know something so we can get those from you, right?
Correct.
And then yeah, maybe we can get these episodes out,
Mhm.
quicker or faster, more often, whatever. Help us help
Yep.
you.
Yep. So let's do that. And listen, also something funny is Renee Rapp and Avantika, who were both in Mean Girls, were also on this show together. Avantika is Priya, the hot
Mhm.
younger Indian girl. So I just think so they had a little Mean Girls. But I think before Mean Girls was a thing, so that's what makes it funnier. But either way,
Hey,
I'm excited. Apparently the boys are gonna get hotter. That's the opening line of the
you happy
trailer.
with that?
Yeah, very much. Okay. And with that, I think that is it, Chappelle, for us here. Please leave us a comment, leave us a review that you enjoyed it. Listen, 5 stars only. Okay, please help us out.
Mhm.
And with that, Chappelle, where can the people find you?
You can find me on all social media platforms at Recap Kickback and on YouTube, youtube.com/@ Recap Kickback. That's where I am podcasting primarily. Mari, Matt, and I did a full review of Beauty in Black. It
Laugh out
is,
loud, hilarious. I
I'm
already listened.
crying thinking about it. It's so funny. Check it out. So you can check out Tyler Perry's Netflix show, soap opera, Beauty in Black. Go watch it and listen to us. We got a lot to talk about over there. Check it out on Recap Kickback. Gia and I are talking about Abbott Elementary as well. So check that out too. And then catch me on all the RHAP podcasts as well. I'm doing a lot of stuff right now. What about you, Sasha?
Yes, of course. I am talking pop culture. I am talking what's trending. We're talking about it over on Mess Magnets. Yes, thank you. Right here, if you're watching us on YouTube, of course, we're on the screen. Check out messmagnets.com. And listen, big news. Okay, we are launching the sexiest man alive poll.
But we
So
already know who the sexiest man alive is. Isn't it John Krasinski?
no, Mess Magnets will be deciding.
I thought we already had the.
No.
That's not.
How dare you, first of all, because we
He
are here. We will be deciding.
feels like
AKA
a
you
Mindy
will be
type.
deciding, you the listeners.
Uh-huh.
So go to tinyurl.com/messfeed and put in your submission because we're gonna we've had a bunch already. But listen, help us out. Send in who you think should be sexiest man alive, and then Kirsten, me, and then we'll get a group of our podcaster friends to pick who out of all of those is gonna be the sexiest man alive. And why is it Shah Rukh Khan? Don't worry, I will
Listen,
tell
just
you.
just make sure you spell my name correctly. That's Chappell. There's two P's, two L's. No
I
need
will
to.
not be. I will no, please.
People, make sure you spell my name correctly. Just y'all can just put in recap kickback. They'll know who y'all talking about.
So yeah, submit your and listen, share it with everyone. Okay, everyone's invited. Just submit who you think the sexiest man alive is. All right, Mess Magnets will decide because people pisses me off every year. So we're taking matters into our own hand. So go to messmagnets.com to get all of that tea. And Matt Liguori and I over on Robinson Podcast YouTube channel and the We Know not scripted. That's this feed. We Know reality TV feed are talking Dancing with the Stars. And we just talked about the 500th episode with Ali Lasher. So check that out. And of course, Mike Bloom and I are talking to your favorite reality TV stars about their favorite scripted shows. And we talk well, as of this going out, you know what? It doesn't matter. Just go on there because we're talking to new people every week, and we just talked Agatha all along with Franny, and I think we've already talked to Owen as well as of when this gets released. So either way, check all of that out, and we will be back to talk season 3 of the sex lives of college girls. Thank you everyone for listening. Bye.